kuja kupare kwa Yesu nisikia mwambiwe mambo za shetani atudaiwe baba nasikia kuzito baba nishukue nifunze nataka kusoma kwa shule yako nichukue nifunze nataka kusoma kwa shule yako basi cheza de dance de ukiweka de kama Daudi tunalala amka Yesu anapepea tunalala amka ili kutumbea don't you see the way I get down no ma moto when I'm singing to my God oh.
Niwache hii gunia moja nitakuletea pesa jioni.
Wewe washa, cash only.
Sasa nitafanya nini?
Umejaribu Megadola wewe?
Wewe umejaribu kashinda. Nani atagoja hadi wiki nzima draw ifanywe?
Mama Mega. Draw Megadola lottery inatangazwa after every 4 minutes. Kitu unahitajika kufanya, uchague tu namba zako.
4 minutes are enough to win big with Megadola. Just go to Lipa na M-Pesa, select pay bill, enter business number 295888, enter account name KBC. Deposit 10 shillings or more, enter your PIN and press OK, then choose 10 numbers from 1 to 80 and send to 29588. And you can win up to 30 million shillings every 4 minutes. Deposit, play, and win with Megadola. Big game for big winners.
Najua kwenye Alexa. Nani amekuuliza? Najua kina kama nishindo na wax. Kenda utofikia.
Wewe ni watchman. Mimi shida sikwambia kazi mvanya. Shida. Nataka kuangalia hivi nijue kama unaweza ua na unaweza zika.
Isaka, Tiffany.
So close up for best friends. Take it slow, hero. We're not yet there.
Jigi.
Najua ufanye funikaenda.
Unaona? Kiwaambia kitu si pombe mnadhani ati ndio. Suleka sini siku kuna simisi uende kwangu.
Huko nilazimisha lakini pia sio ati nilienda nikitaka.
Ni nini ilikufanya ukata?
Kitu ya kwanza bibi yako ni mtu wa kujifotoa na makeup. Ukimwona hivi ni real sense. Kwanza ukimwona akijifotoa anakaa kama Rihanna. Ukimwona hivi kiface Mavado.
Welcome to tonight's broadcast. My name is Victor Muyakane. We have a lot in store for you, and for a glimpse of that, here are the highlights. Public Service Principal Secretary Lillian Bogo Omolo and NYS Director General Richard Dubai step aside as investigations into the alleged 9 billion shilling scam intensify. No respite yet as ongoing floods continue to wreak havoc. Divisions within the lecturers' unions emerge over yesterday's decision to call off their industrial strife. And it is reprieve for Kenyans as power tariffs are adjusted downwards. That and so much more coming to you this evening. Once again, my name is Victor Muyakane and you're welcome. We have quite a lot in store for you and we would like to make this as interactive as possible. The SMS lines are open. 22162 is the number, and let us know what you think, starting with the word KBC, and I'll be happy to sample some of your feedback live on air. You can also tweet us through our handle at KBC Channel 1 at Muyakane. And once again, we'll be happy to sample your feedback live on air. Now, if we may begin, arguably the biggest news in the country this evening, and the Principal Secretary responsible for NYS, Madam Lilian Mbogo Omolo, and the NYS Director General, Richard Ndubai, have stepped aside to pave way for investigations into the NYS saga. The development has come of course, in the wake of public outcry over revelations of the theft of 10.5 billion shillings from NYS, the second such scandal in less than 4 years. Following pressure from leaders and members of the public for responsible officers to step aside in the wake of a fresh scandal at the National Youth Service, the Public Service Principal Secretary in charge of NYS, Lilian Mbogo Omolo, and NYS Director General Richard Ndubai have stepped aside for a period of 3 months. In a statement to newsrooms, the head of state said that he had accepted the offer by the two officers to leave office to pave way for investigations into what is the latest scandal to rock the NYS. The statement further says that the president expects public officials directly implicated in the scandal to act according to the Code of Ethics and step aside for investigations because of their roles as officers directly responsible for the functions of the NYS. The scandal is a slap in the face of recent efforts by the Jubilee government to clamp down on corruption. The head of state, in his State of the Nation address, reiterated that the Jubilee government would not tolerate corruption. Investigative agencies have over the past few weeks been investigating payments at the National Youth Service, NYS, with a view to ascertain whether they were made following the correct procedures and whether there was any fraud committed in the processes. This is the second major scandal that has been unearthed at NYS. In 2015, then Devolution CS Anwai Guru stepped aside, urging the head of state to accord her lighter duties after a scandal in which 791 million shillings was lost. The raging floods continue to wreak havoc as authorities move to stem disaster. The Water Resource Management Authority will begin the process of earmarking structures erected on wetlands for demolition from next week. The mitigation measures come as the weatherman calls for increased rainfall in the next 3 days, mainly in western Kenya, Nyanza, Rift Valley, and other areas.
The ongoing floods witnessed in most parts of the country have so far claimed several lives and occasioned destruction. But going by the latest forecast by the Kenya Meteorological Department, the intensity of the rain is expected to increase, especially in the Lake Victoria Basin, Western Rift Valley, Nairobi counties, and authorities are moving in to protect lives and property. The Water Resource Management Authority has issued a 3-week notice to tenants living near swamps, Dallas Estate, Embu, to look for alternative dwelling. Walba Regional Manager, Tana Water Catchment Area, Embu County, Bernard Omuya, says their continued stay around the swamp is unsafe as the raging waters are slowly filling up the water body. 100 families were forced to vacate after they were displaced by floods. In Migori County, residents of Manyata village in East Kanyamkago have appealed to the county government to help in the construction of a killer bridge that has claimed 3 lives since the onset of the heavy rains. The 30-meter-long footbridge connects the village to learning institutions in the area is only supported by planks of food and poles that have weakened since the rains began pounding. The situation has become precarious, especially for school-going children.
Na imekuwa ni tatizo kubwa sana. Hata tumelia na hatujawahi kupata msaada. Imekuwa ni kazi ngumu sana watu kupita hapa kwenda ng'ambo. Hata watoto wetu wana shida kubwa sana.
Kila wakati tukiona daraja kama hii tunahofia hata huenda kwamba saa zingine tukasia kazi kwa sababu ya daraja kama hii.
Elsewhere, farmers along River Karura in Kabete and Kiambaa constituencies are counting losses after Bakia Dam broke its banks and destroyed crops. Meanwhile, more than 700 families displaced in northeastern region benefited from 126 tons of assorted items donated by Islamic Relief, an non-governmental organization operating in areas with humanitarian challenges. Officer in charge Mustafa Ibrahim said the organization stepped in during the holy month of Ramadan to ensure those who lost property observe the season without hitches.
We also had the flash floods, which have affected the communities who have been doing farming along the river line, especially both in River Tana and River Dawa. We think and we hope this will reach a long end to those people to make sure at least they have something for their iftar during this Ramadan season.
The threat of waterborne diseases now looms large as the floods are likely to mix with sewer due to poor drainage in most of the areas. Public health officials are urging the public to treat their water before drinking.
Now, the devastating impact of the Patel Dam tragedy shook the entire nation, with marks of the accident bound to remain forever engraved on the victims and their families. But behind the catastrophe lies a group of men and women of character who gave their all to save the lives of the victims during the unfortunate incident. Such is the story of Mary Waruguru, a community health nurse who was the first respondent to the victims of the tragedy.
The fateful night the Patel Dam catastrophe struck was particularly harrowing for victims, but among them was a nurse who, despite the overwhelming influx of patients at her two-room clinic, 32 people had another chance to live. Until the tragedy that claimed 48 people, among them 21 children, little was known about Mary Waruguru, a community health nurse who was the first respondent to victims on the precipice of death that night. She says her life-saving skills acquired from the Kenya Red Cross Society last year, where she worked as a volunteer, helped save lives of children who would otherwise have had their last breath that fateful night.
So nikaanza kukumbuka ile first aid skills ambazo tulikuwa tumefundishwa. Ndio tukachukua makasi tunaanza kurarua nguo ya ile mtoto kwa sababu mtoto alikuwa amejaa matope kila mahali.
As an administrator turned nurse at Low Shela Clinic, Waruguru says she was on duty that night when she heard screams and unusually loud movements outside the clinic. Panic gripped her and her colleagues, whom she says bolted out of the clinic and ran away, leaving her with the 2-month-old infant that had just been brought in by a police vehicle covered with mud and struggling for breath. Without a pediatrician, Waruguru was hesitant to attend to the helpless child, even as the police driver that brought the baby insisted that she embarks on saving the child's life. Stuck between her passion for saving life and her profession's red lines, and armed with her first aid skills, she decided to follow her passion.
Mimi pamoja na yule ofisa tulishughulikia yule mtoto, tukambembeleza, tunampapasa mgongo kwa sababu huwezi ukamfanyia ile CPR, ni mdogo sana, kwa very fragile. So tunambembeleza mgongo, tunapat, tunamweka kwa position kama tuna wheel.
Her clinic was by then teeming with unconscious children, with complications ranging from difficulties in breathing to deep cuts and extensive bruises. Surviving residents at the Energy and Nyakinyua villages hailed the nurse as a compassionate and hard-working health worker.
Mary kwanza kabisa, kando na skills za kutibu, yeye ni do I call her mama ama msichana, yeye ni mama, msichana tu, very ana humor, a lot of humor, kwa sababu hata ukikumbuka incident ya huyo mtoto mdogo, kando na kumsaidia alikuwa anamuongelesha.
Hiyo nasa akatusaidia, akatuosha, akatudunga mashindano yako na mzuri.
Last Wednesday, during an interdenominational memorial service at AIC Solai grounds, President Uhuru Kenyatta, who attended the service, honored and commended the 34-year-old nurse for her exemplary service to mankind.
In other news, just a day after the University Academic Staff Union called off the 78-day Dawn's strike, Their counterpart, the Kenya University Staff Union, headed by Charles Mukhwaya, appears to be reading from a different script. Mukhwaya says that KUSU is yet to reach an agreement with the government, maintaining that the strike is still on. Meanwhile, President Kenyatta has today directed the Ministry of Education and the Teachers Service Commission to develop a reward scheme for teachers whose schools perform well in the national examinations.
Following 78 days of the strike, the University Academic Staff Union and Interpublic University Consultative Forum have today signed a return to work formula, concluding the strike.
It is an announcement that would see striking lecturers who down their tools return back to work Friday morning after University Academic Staff Union signed a return to work agreement with the University Council. But the decision by UWASU Secretary General Constantine Wasonga to call off the strike seems to have caused a rift between UWASU and Kenya University Staff Union, who feel betrayed by their colleagues in UWASU.
Wafanyikazi wote katika vyuo vikuu hawajaridhika. Hawana furaha, hawana morali, hawana motisha ya kuendelea kufanya kazi zao.
Charles Mukhwaya, Secretary General of KUSU, says despite attending the Thursday night meeting between University Council and union officials, no consensus was reached on the status of the nationwide strike.
The question that remains is, between us, the members who are on strike, and those who run and manage universities, who is escalating the strike now?
In calling off the strike, Wasonga had argued that the return to work formula opens several new pathways to achieve the Dawn's fundamental objective of completing better collective bargaining agreement for quality university education. And even as lecturers reported back to work on Thursday, Deputy President William Ruto has announced that schemes of service for lecturers in technical colleges would be changed from July in a bid to boost their morale.
Next financial year in July, all technical education lecturers will have their own scheme of service under the Public Service Commission to provide for their career development, progression, and remuneration.
Ruto saying that technical colleges in Kenya will review their fees structure downwards by between 30% and 50% in an ambitious move that seeks to increase student population.
How are you doing?
The revelations coming as President Uhuru Kenyatta directed the Ministry of Education and the Teachers Service Commission to develop a reward scheme for teachers whose schools perform well in the national examinations, saying it was prudent to reward teachers whose schools perform well by promoting them.
We must give them encouragement to continue doing well, just as much as those who are perpetually doing badly will receive their just reward accordingly, whatever that one shall be. But I do concur. Schools are not just about the heads. They are also about the teachers. They are also about the support staff.
The President said he has already consulted with Education Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohammed, who will engage the Teacher Service Commission with the view of ensuring that the reward scheme that applies to principals will be extended to teachers. Brenda Zeda, Radido, Channel 1 News.
Machakos Governor Dr. Alfred Mutua and Kisii Deputy Governor Joash Mangi had a scare early today after a bridge that they were using to access a village across the River Kuja in Ugembo caved in. The two were on an inspection tour of the bridge when the incident happened. 3 journalists who were accompanying the two sustained injuries and were rushed to Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital. Witnesses say the incident occurred while the leaders were conducting an inspection tour of projects initiated by Kisii Governor James Ongwae when the bridge suddenly started to sway before it caved in at the middle. Those present at the event took to their heels to save themselves and succeeded, save for 2 journalists identified as Nicodemus Ogachi of KTN and Christopher Koroba, a Kisii County government photojournalist who plunged into the raging river waters of the Kuja River. The two leaders vowed to commit funds for the reconstruction of the footbridge, even as locals expressed their frustration with the county administration, which they say has ignored their pleas to fix the hazardous bridge since its construction in 2009.
Wasaidiane ili watujengee daraja. Cause watu wengi huwa wanapita na watu wengi wanafanyia biashara huko.
We need to safeguard this bridge because at the moment there are others who may try to cross while it is like this way. It is dangerous.
We now take a short break. We shall be right back with more, including an interview with a man who, in his usual day-to-day activities, is in very strict demeanor. Full uniform, hacheki na watu, as they say. But later on, when he's out and about in his downtime, he belts out tunes so sweet to rival a bird. Who am I talking about? Mirindimo Classics. Model Chris. See you after the break for more.
The Easy Banking app is your bank anywhere, anytime. Everything you do at the bank is on Easy Banking app. You can use the app to send money, pay bills, buy and pay for goods and services, access easy loans, check the status of your account, save for future goals, and so much more. And now you can enjoy an even better banking experience with the just updated Easy Banking app. Loaded with a great suite of powerful features so you're always in control of your banking lifestyle wherever you are. Download the Easy Banking app from Google Play Store or App Store and link your Equity Bank account. If you do not have an Equity Bank account, open one hapo from the app. Easy Banking. Experience convenience in life.
Je, waweza fanya nini kwa dakika 4? Na mega dola. Unaweza piga chef? Na mega dola. Kila kitu ni mega. Waweza pika ugali? Na mega dola. Pesa hapa ni mega. Na mega. Labda waweza fua nguo? Ni mega. Ama unaweza tengeneza milioni 30. 4 minutes are enough to win big with Mega Dollar. Just go to Lipa na M-Pesa, select Pay Bill, enter business number 29588, enter account name KBC, deposit 10 shillings or more, enter your PIN and press OK, then choose 10 numbers from 1 to 80 and send to 29588. And you can win up to 30 million shillings every 4 minutes. Deposit, play, and win with Mega Dollar. The big game for big winners.
Jigi.
Wewe unajua ulifanya hivyo nikaenda.
Unaona? Kiwaambia kitu si pombe mnadhani ati ndio. Suleka sini siku kulazimisha uende kwangu.
Huko nilazimisha lakini pia sio ati nilienda nikitaka.
Ni nini ilikufanya ukata?
Kitu ya kwanza, bibi yako ni mtu wa kujifotoa na makeup. Ukimwona hivi ni real sense. Kwanza ukimwona akijifotoa anakaa kama Rihanna. Ukimwona hivi kiface mavado.
Mine is moving merchandise and making money. So why don't you give me my money and get your little homie Chewy there to move and get my plane loaded.
That's my car! Hey, get airborne!
You find out who led that ground operation and get him in front of me yesterday.
Yes, sir.
What the hell? These kids are out of their minds.
everything, he comes and disturbs the peace with songs such as Wololo. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Martin Abineri, aka Marto Chris, aka Martin Chris Abineri, or otherwise known as Mirindimo Classics. Karibu sana.
Shukran sana.
Thank you for coming.
Asante pia.
What is Mirindimo? Break it down. What is Mirindimo?
Mirindimo is a kind of a style ambayo natumia kwa sai, ambayo ni mziki wangu, ndo nauita Mirindimo. So sikutaka kuna ile unaimba Kiswahili alafu watu wanasema huyu anaimba style ya bongo. Sikutaka. Alafu unaimba wanasema huyu mtu, yani tayari wanakupatia group. So nikaamua sasa nikuje na style yangu ambayo inaitwa Mirindimo. So after kukuja nayo watu wakaniita Mirindimo. So nikabidi tu nibaki style yangu ni Mirindimo na bado ni Mirindimo.
Mirindimo.
Naam.
Alright. Kwa Kiswahili Mirindimo humaanisha nini? What does it mean?
Mirindimo ni kama mlio wa muziki. Yani kuna mlio, yani tuseme ni kama mlio wa muziki. Unarindima. Yeah. So nilitoa hilo jina Mirindimo kwa neno inarindima. Yeah.
All right. I know you don't like to talk about this, but your 9-to-5 job is in the security industry.
Kabisa.
Tell me, how do you balance kuwa afisa na pia kuwa mwanamuziki? How do you balance those two things?
Una balance kwa sababu kuna time ya kila kitu. Alafu pia kila kitu kimebadilika sasa hivi. So kuna wakati ambao uko kazi, unafanya kazi. Wakati umepata time yako ya kupumzika kidogo, unafanya shughuli zako, kama vile mimi naweza kaa chini nikaandika muziki.
Yeah. There are artists ambao wanafanya kazi katika kikosi, and then what they do is they use the music they use the music to push an agenda that is related to their work as officers. Do you do the same, or Martin Abineri and Mirindimo are two different people, two different things altogether?
Hizo vitu ni vitu mbili tofauti. Mimi Martin na Mirindimo ni vitu. Sasa nikiwa Martin ni wakati niko kwa kazi. Nikiwa Mirindimo ni wakati niko kwa muziki.
Now, tell me about your music. Why did you decide to sing the way you do? What are kind of the influences that led you kuongoza kufanya muziki wa aina hii?
Kwa sababu niliangalia muziki ambao sasa tunaimba Kenya. Ni tofauti kabisa na ule muziki ambao wenzetu wanaimba kutoka nje. Kwa sababu kweli kama hii wa Kenya hatuna style yetu. Hatuna style kabisa. Tunaweza sema sasa hii ni style ya Kenya. Utakuta mtu amekuja na style yake. Sisi tunafanywaga ni kama mahali ya kutest sample. Tukisikia muziki umetoka Nigeria, sisi tunakuja tunaujaribu kufanya. Tukisikia muziki umetoka kama ni America hip hop, tunakuja tunajaribu kuifanya. Alafu tunaimba ile hip hop ambayo ni wanasema hardcore hip hop. Sasa sisi tukiangalia pale sisi tumetokea pale, mimi nimezaliwa Coast, muziki ni huu ndo muziki wetu. Kama tutaimba huu basi tutaimba tarabu. Tuseme chakacha. So huu ni muziki, mimi nafanya kitu chetu. Sija import, nafanya kile kitu ambacho ni chetu. Naam.
Lakini kuna wengi ambao watasema kwamba mtindo wako unafanana sana na mtindo wa kutoka Tanzania. Waweza kusema, why is it that anyone who sings in Swahili in Kenya is automatically labeled bongo flavor? Why do you think that is? So why has bongo flavor become such a great dominant force in Kenya?
Kwanza tutoe hiyo dhana kwamba muziki tukiimba Kiswahili kwamba ni muziki ni wa Tanzania. Kwa sababu hata zile kabila ziko Tanzania, ziko Kenya. For example, tukisema Mdigo wako Kenya. Hizo kabila zote Wachonyi wako Kenya pia. So hiyo Kiswahili kilianzia kwanza, Kiswahili kilianzia kisiwa cha Pemba. Ambao pia tunaamini kwamba Waarabu walipitia Mombasa. So hicho Kiswahili kilianzia huko. Sasa tunasemaga muziki wa Kiswahili ni wa Tanzania kwa sababu hapa kwetu ama hapa ambao muziki tuseme ndio industry kubwa ambayo iko Nairobi. Watu hawaimbi Kiswahili. Si ndio maana vile nilikwambia kwamba tuna import style, tunatoa huku style, tunatoa huku style, hatuna style yetu. So wakati tunajaribu kuleta ile style ya ile ambayo tunafaa kuwa, wanasema tayari tunaimba style ya Tanzania. Ambao wa Tanzania labda inawatambulisha sana kwa dunia kwa sababu wanaimba kitu chao. Sasa sisi hatuwezi imba kitu cha nje alafu kikatutambulisha sana na kitu cha nje. Naam.
Now, if you could say that people who sing in Swahili, you know, like naturally for anyone who's out there, they label it as bongo flavor. This is from, you know, Tanzania. Oh, and if you sing in Swahili, you're kind of copying what the Tanzanians do. Do you think that it's easier for Kenyan musicians to join the whole bandwagon and just sing like that and be called bongo, but now own it as an East African style? Or do you think it's still possible for Kenyan artists to do something that is unique but different from that?
Mimi kile kitu nitasema, Kiswahili ni cha East Africa. Kiswahili pia sisi wa Kenya ni lugha ya taifa ambayo iko katika nyimbo yetu ya taifa. Kiswahili kipo. Sasa tukisema mtu anaimba Kiswahili anatoka Tanzania ama ni bongo flavor, tunakosea kwanza, kwa sababu Kiswahili tayari ni lugha yetu ya taifa. So kuimba Kiswahili kwanza itakuwa ni vizuri sana, utakuwa unagusa mpaka yule mtu ambaye hajawahi kwenda shule, kwa sababu ukweli ni kwamba iko watu bado katika nchi hawajaenda shule, wako huko vijijini kabisa, ambao mimi nikisema nitaongea Kizungu sana, labda mamangu mimi hataelewa. Hakuweza kwenda shule kwa wakati huo. Sasa Kiswahili, tukiimba Kiswahili tutakuwa tunagusa kila mtu, kwa sababu kwanza mimi napenda kusema kwamba wale ndugu zetu wa huko kidogo wako very creative na wanapenda kitu chao kwanza, alafu unajua wakifanya kitu chao wanakiona hichi ni chetu, na hata venye kitakuwa wanakiona. Lakini sisi hapa sasa kwetu kuona kitu chetu ni shida. Ukiona mtu amefanya kitu, wewe kama hautaki ku appreciate kile kitu anafanya. Naam.
So wewe kwa muziki wako unajaribu vipi? How are you trying to be unique and to be different in your writing, in your production, in your videos? Why should we listen to you?
Mimi kwanza naandika Kiswahili. Pili, nyimbo zangu zinasikizwa na mtu yoyote. Tatu, sijaweka utofauti kati ya matajiri na maskini. Video zangu, hata video yangu ukiangalia, nimejaribu kuweka kwamba ile ni maisha ya kawaida ambayo hata kama ukiwa uko na pesa, kuna ile maisha ulipitia. That's why unaona kuna huyo msichana katika video amevaa hiyo dress. Hiyo ni tradition.
In fact, in your lyrics you say mitindo yake ni kanga na
dera. Uzuri wake, yani unasema yeye anavaa kanga na dera. Yeah.
All right. Tell me something else. So I've listened to 2 of your songs, and I've noticed that love is a major theme for you. Why do you sing about it? And are there other things that you wish to sing about other than love?
Kwa sahi tuseme nitaimbia mapenzi, sababu mimi naamini mapenzi ndo kila kitu, alafu mapenzi pia ndo amri kuu. Yeah.
What does that mean?
Amri kuu niseme ni, kwa Kizungu nasema the greatest command.
Yeah. Right. Now, do you have other plans to release other music apart from Hisia and of course Wololo?
Yeah, sahi kuna ngoma inashughulikiwa ambayo nilifanya hapa. Nilifanya, alafu iko best yangu akaitisha aifanyie mastering America.
Okay.
So iko America inafanywa mastering. Ikifika I just na shoot then I release.
Can you give us a slight taste of what it's like?
Hiyo bado ni mapenzi. Yeah. Mahabuba wasikupe tabu, ongeza uba iwape tabu. Mahabuba yangu dhahabu, hebu tunza, epuka binadamu, kwani wabahao hawana jema. Wataficha ya kwao, yetu watasema, ila mashallah Mungu kakupa stara. Inshallah tukikosa sie twalala, hawachoki kusema nadeka mie, nadeka mie. Yeah.
Beautiful. Tell me something else. We have seen in our industry, and we've seen all across the world, artists getting to the place where they cannot handle the life that they signed up for. You know, this is when you're a musician in our society, you're a big star. Yeah. And if you're a successful musician, you're an even bigger star. Do you think you're ready to deal with the pressure as well as the fame?
Yes, I'm ready. Kwa sababu mimi naamini yale malezi nimelelewa. Ya, niliambiwa kwanza niheshimu kila mtu. Pili, pesa si kila kitu. Ya, sasa ukiwa na pesa so unadharau yule ana, kwa sababu mimi nakumbuka pale nilianzia maisha yangu. Mimi nilikuwa nauza mboga kwanza. Na katakata mboga kijijini. So kila senti na kila shilingi yangu najua jinsi ya kuimanage. Mpaka sasa hii hata unipe shilingi 100 najua vile nitaimanage. Yeah.
Okay. And do you think you would perhaps feel a sense of pressure because as a musical artist and a man well on his way to be a big star, everyone is looking at you to be a role model. Everyone is looking at you to model the right kind of behavior for our youth. Now, we've had stories of stars behaving badly and not being very good role models. In the neighboring country, Tanzania, a few of them have been arrested on drug-related charges of pornography and other things. Do you feel a pressure to be a good role model?
No, as in, kwa sahihi, mimi sioni, kwa sababu kwanza nilijifunza kitu. Kuna wakati, kwanza tuseme Facebook account yangu mimi imejaa. Lakini unapata mtu anakuja inbox, anakuongelesha na ninamjibu. Alafu unakuta unauliza, wanasema wengi wa wasanii ambao tunawaongelesha hawajibugi message zetu. Wewe unajibu, yenyewe Mungu akubariki. Hiyo word peke yake mimi nashukuru sana. Hiyo word Mungu akubariki means a lot kwangu. So mimi sidhani, kwa sababu kama kiufupi na imeanza kugrow na nimeanza kujua venye nitaihandle. Now,
what are some of the ways you're going to use to make sure that your music, the content of your music, the content of your videos, and your own character, because as a star, everyone is looking at you, what are some of the ways you're going to use to make sure that you are a good role model to the young people who are looking up to you?
Kwanza, unajifunza kuwa na heshima, unaheshimu kila mmoja kwanza. Alafu pili, unajua ukishajua wewe ni kioo cha jamii, wewe ni msanii ambao kila mtu anakuangalia. So kuna tabia ambazo unaachana nazo. Kama tabia umesema ya kupiga picha ukiwa uchi, sijui kufanya vitu gani, hizo unaachana nazo kwa sababu tuko na wazazi. Mimi sasa amshua hata mamangu anaangalia. Alafu kesho anaambiwa, Martin tulimuona akiwa uchi kwenye mtandao, alikuwa na mwanamke akiwa uchi kwenye mtandao. Kwanza nitakuwa nimejikosea heshima. Pili nitakuwa nimemkosea hata muumba wangu heshima. Alafu tatu nitakuwa naibisha ile jamii ambao walisema huyu Martin acha tuone tukimsupport labda itakuwaje. Sasa nitakuwa nimewaibisha pale. So mimi siko tayari kuwaibisha. Mimi nataka niwafundishe katika nyimbo zangu, niwaeleze katika nyimbo zangu, hilo tu na Mungu anisaidie.
But a lot of people say that. Watu wengi wanasema hivyo, wasanii wengi wakubwa wanasema hivyo unavyosema sasa hivi. But now when you see the end product, unaona kwamba wameteleza wengi sana. Some of the biggest artists we know in our region, East Africa, have had scandals, major scandals about their character. Everyone says, I will do this, and then they end up doing later. What are other ways you feel could help you to stay true?
Okay, one, mimi my first advice, mtu ambaye ananipatia mawazo sana ni mamangu mzazi. Pili babangu mzazi. So kitambo, alafu pia kuna watu wananizunguka. Kitambo niachie kitu ama nifanye kitu, then I have to ask. Naulizaga, hii unaona inaweza leta nini? Wanaambia hii hapana. So mamangu akiwa pale, mamangu hawezi niruhusu nikaeka kitu kama hiyo kwa mtandao. Hawezi niruhusu. So mamangu, yeye ndo mtu wa kwanza ambaye tunaongea na yeye na ananiambia zile vitu za kufanya. Yeah.
Another question is this. In the industry that you're in, what are you in for? Unafanya mziki kwa sababu gani? What do you hope to get out of music?
Kwanza kabisa, mimi nafanya mziki kama talent. Pili nafanya mziki kama passion. Alafu naifanya kama biashara. Yeah. So nikifanya kama talent ni kitu nafanya nafurahia kile nafanya. Alafu nafanya kama passion. Alafu ya pili kama biashara. So wewe huwezi cheza na biashara yako. Wakati umeweka sukuma zako kwa kibanda unauza ama tomato, hautataka mtu achezee. So maana pale ndo utapata riziki. Hizo tu ndo mimi naweza sema kwa sasa.
All right. Now, maybe as we wind up, there are some artists out there, or even people with great talent, athletes, boxers, all sorts of talented individuals who've had great success. But then at some point,
they go bankrupt. We've had Mike Tyson going bankrupt. We've had Michael Jackson actually being in debt to the tune of $500 million. We've had many musical artists and all sorts of talented individuals failing to manage their money. How equipped, how ready are you, or what plans do you have to make sure that when the big bucks start coming in, you're ready to handle and manage that properly?
Kwanza, namba tuseme kama tutakuwa tunajirudia, lakini nimesema mimi nimekuwa na biashara kuanzia ya sukuma, kuanzia chini. So hata shilingi 5 ilikuwa naweza kuimanage kwa sababu.
But what if you have 5 million, you know?
Niko na kakangu ambaye anaitwa Humphrey Babu. Yeye alinifundisha kitu ambacho hajaijua kama alinifundisha kitu. Kuna siku alikuwa anaongea nikiwa nimekaa kando, akasema kwa watu wanashindwaga kuishi kwa sababu wakati alikuwa anapata shilingi 50 alikuwa anakula 10. Sasa akipata 100 anataka akule 20. Akipata 200 so ana increase. So the best thing, nikasikia akisema kwamba wewe ukiwa umezoea maisha yako unakulanga 100 na uko satisfied. So hata ukipata 1000 jaribu kula ile 100 ambayo umezoea kula. Yeah.
Right.
So that's how I'll do.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Finally, this is your camera. I want you to talk to the youth out there. I want you to talk to people. Anything that's in your heart to share. This is your camera. And then when you finish giving them what you want to say, wapatie laini 2-3 za nyimbo yako fulani.
Mimi kile nitasema kwamba vijana, kuna tofauti. Unaweza sema unapuliza, ukapuliza kuwasha badala ya kupuliza kuzima. Nina maana gani? Wakati unaambiwa upulize kitu, hujui unaambiwa ukipulize kwa nini. So chunga, unaweza kuwa umeambiwa upulize kuwasha alafu ukapuliza kuzima. So vijana wenzangu, mimi kile nitasema tuombe Mungu, tufanye kazi kwa bidii.
Tupe laini kadhaa as we wind up. Just a few lines from any of your songs. We finish it.
Furahia tukila bagai, vumilia tukila daga, hiyo ndo yangu, ndo yangu, ndo yangu baby, japo Waswahili wanasema.
Well done. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming, and I wish you well in your music.
Asante sana.
All right. That has been Martin Abineri, aka Mirindimo Classics. You can get his music on YouTube and all sorts of social media. What's your social media handle on Facebook?
Facebook ni Mirindimo Classic. Instagram Mirindimo Classic.
Same thing everywhere. You shall be able to get in touch with them for bookings and all that. We'll now take a short break, and when we return, we'll have Regina Manyara Gitau with business news. Do stay tuned.
Save a date this Saturday, the 19th May 2018 from 10 a.m. and join us live on KBC Channel 1 as we take you to Windsor Castle for a royal treat where Henry Charles Albert David, commonly known as Prince Harry, marries Meghan Markle. Take the front row seat as we bring you the all-important close-ups. Be part of the millions in the world who will be watching the royal wedding.
Today on Old Pedge Diaries, tourism's role in conservation.
The single biggest contributor to the Old Pedge Kitty is tourism. It's essential to our survival.
Old Pedgeta redefines the traditional safari.
Anybody can drive around a vehicle and look at wildlife. Getting out there and actually seeing it for yourself and walking up to wildlife on foot is something special.
And you go walking with the Big Five.
You're going to absorb some of what really old Africa is about.
Plus a unique program that lets tourists become researchers.
Most often, these research projects are kept away from tourism.
Lion tracking can be difficult.
But I think at the end of the day, we're on top of it, aren't we?
It's just another busy week at a Kenyan game reserve.
Nani amekuuliza? Najua kina kama mshindo na wax. Kenda utafikia.
Wewe ni watchman. Mimi Shiro, sijui kuambia kazi mungu fanya. Shiro. Nataka kuangalia hivi nijue kama unaweza ua na unaweza zika.
Isaka! Tiffany!
So si close up as our best friends. Take it slow, Shiro. We're not yet there.
This week on Africa Leadership Dialogues, we talk matters markets, consumer, research, data, and much more. Julie Gishuru speaks to Brian San, Managing Director, East and South Africa, Nielsen.
What we do is for our clients is we help them to measure their performance in a market, and then we help them to improve upon that performance. And our theory is if we are helping clients to measure their performance and improve on their performance, we're helping markets. We're helping to improve efficiency in markets. And if you improve efficiency, you remove any opaqueness, and that just helps to improve markets, and markets are people. And that's our vision of how we do helps the world.
Tune in to KBC Channel 1 this Saturday at 8 p.m.
Good evening. Glad that you're still with us here on KBC Channel 1. And yes, we do appreciate talent. I'm Regina Manyara-Gitao. Now we speak business. The government has reduced electricity tariffs to 9 US cents per kilowatt hour in efforts to boost the manufacturing sector. Energy Cabinet Secretary Charles Keter says the government will also not license any new thermal power plant or renew the license of stations whose contracts are coming to an end in a move to sustain the low electricity tariffs. The cost of electricity has in recent years been cited among the reasons some manufacturers relocated to other countries, with the Kenya Association of Manufacturers and the Kenya Private Sector Alliance lobbying for reduction in the cost of power.
Next week, Your Excellency, we are commissioning the undergrounding cabling for all Nairobi. Therefore, there will be stability of power, because that also contributes to the cost. There is no need here to say we are giving you power at 9 cents, and that power you enjoy for 2 days.
This has been addressed today, with the government revising down electricity tariffs to 9 US cents per kilowatt hour.
We also have a lot of generation of power. Kenya next year will give 168 megawatts. September we have the 310 megawatts from the wind. We have 55 from Karisa Solar. We have March next year we have the 400 megawatts of hydro from Ethiopia. All that will displace the thermal power plants which are there.
Keter says the government has put in place measures to add 765 megawatts of electricity to sustain the low electricity tariffs, and challenged manufacturers to pass on the benefit to consumers.
We are going to give power at 9 cents, at 6 cents. You are expected also to do A, B, C, D.
That we want our manufacturing sector within the period of 4 years to grow from 8% to 15%.
President Kenyatta challenged all to work towards the country's targets, among them growing the manufacturing sector to 50% in the next 5 years.
So I think what we need to address ourselves to, more than even just saying salary, because yes, everybody is entitled to a salary and a decent living, but we must address ourselves to the issue of productivity. And that's the way we should start moving the language.
He challenged those who have been agitating for salary increases to shift the debate to productivity. Now, leaders in the cooperative movement is lobbying for withdrawal of the Miscellaneous Amendment Bill 2018, saying proper consultations were not conducted during its drafting. Cooperative leaders say some clauses in the bill could retract gains made in entrenching professionalism in the cooperative movement, as well as put at risk the misuse of 800 billion shillings in SACCO deposits.
The Kenya Union of Savings and Credit Cooperatives has sharply criticized the proposals in the Miscellaneous Amendment Bill 2018, which paves way for creation of another category of SACCO members known as Special Impact Members, who have management and investment controls. The bill proposes amendments to the SACCO Societies Act, where a special fund is set up for Special Impact Members, who in turn will appoint its members in the investment committee and special fund trustee, which SACCO leaders are opposed to.
And the social impact members are
to be brought in, according to the proposed amendment, to be brought in without paying any money. And the question next is, will they be cooperative members? In the form in which it is, they will not be cooperative members, but yet they are supposed to make decisions on behalf of the cooperative in terms of financial investments, including how to share the surplus of the same.
The bill indicates that all income from special fund shall be distributed by the special fund trustee among the social impact members based on their contributions.
We have since then given our position of how that particular law, the way it has been proposed, is likely to conflict the cooperative principles. And so we have put our position and said we were not even consulted in the first place as the mother ministry, which is important for any law that goes out, for the mother ministry to interact with the law, which we had not.
SACCO leaders say allowing non-members to wield such authority within a SACCO would put at risk 800 billion shillings in SACCO deposits, as well as allow illicit proceeds of crime to be invested in SACCOs by the social impact members.
Our members in the society, the existing society, would only be a conduit. It will be the collector. We collect the loans on their behalf. When the risks come, the first person to get the risk, if the investment collapses, all right, who will take the risk? The society is the first charge. The society and what have we charged? Members' funds.
They were speaking during the Cusco 31st EGM, where turnover surged to 1.32 billion shillings as assets grew 12.5% to stand at 11.53 billion shillings at the end of 2017. Ronald Willie, NewsHour Business.
Now you can get financing of up to 350,000 shillings for products such as furniture, mobile phones and electronics via a mobile app. This follows the launch of a one-stop shop mobile app dubbed Aspira by Mauritius-based firm CIM Finance that allows users to apply for credit, get retailer information, loan status and payment updates for the purchased goods.
In an effort that ultimately takes innovation in digital financing to another level, Kenyans will now be able to access credit from a mobile app, far from the traditional financing model from banks. With a maximum simple interest rate of 4% per month on the financing and a loan range of up to 350,000 shillings for first-time customers, Kenyans will, through Aspira, a mobile app launched by Mauritius-based firm CIM Finance, get product financing for assets such as furniture, phones and electronics.
So we're partnering with 12 major retailers to offer access 4% financing, no hidden charges to electronics, household appliances, furniture, jewelry, and fashion.
Having piloted for the last 1 year in the Kenyan market, the firm notes that a growing stable economy, market potential, high technology usage, and huge demand for credit among Kenyans is to be credited for the success in digital financing.
Kenya is an attractive market in terms of large middle class, established retail sector, and also mobile money. So one thing that distinguishes our business is that we're a paperless, cashless business model. So all repayments are done via M-Pesa or bank transfer. Any contracts or paperwork that you do with us are digital, and the initial credit application to see how much you're eligible for takes about 2 minutes.
The firm has so far invested 9 billion shillings in the venture and has partnered with the TransUnion to provide innovative credit scores for customers to enhance loan processing turnaround time.
We offer affordable access to financing. So first-time customers get 4% interest a month, no hidden charges, and as a repeat customer, the interest rate drops every time you buy another purchase from us. We also partner with a wide range of retailers, so we give you access to the items that you actually want to buy.
Nicholas Nduati, Business Defined.
Kenya Breweries Limited has contracted 17,000 farmers from 5 western Kenyan counties to supply sorghum as the brewer moves to boost supplies ahead of the operationalization of its new 15 billion shillings Kisumu plant. Some of the farmers who have since taken up the initiative are upbeat that the venture will improve their lives both economically. Now, that is a story that we have been working on in the course of the day, and I'm sure you're going to find more details on our website at www.kbcchannel1. So that's the cap on Matters Business. Victor Muyakane is on the other side of studio with what has been happening in the sporting arena. I'm Regina Manyara Guitar. Do have yourself a pleasant evening ahead and a great weekend.